outsider, they'll lean towards Dust 2, but they leave the option of Mirage open, which raises the question, do they have more for Mirage than we have seen before? There's more to go into on the other maps, but we'll get into that in due course because it looks like we are off to the races. Mirage, the pick of Supernova Comets. Big upset, taking down Zerance not twice, but France, sending Zerance back to France. Now let's see if they can do the same with the Ninjas. Send them to the airport as well. Defending home soil here, North America. Empathy, fishing top mid with the P250. Lovely range for that. Forks, one of the ones to watch as far as the Comets are concerned, getting a frag as well. And NIP are dropping like flies at present. Mia, UK's finest, the 1 versus 4. When it comes to nerves for NIP, in terms of all the youngsters around Vilga, I think Mia has the least nerves of anybody else on the team. She is a mad fragger for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but there are so many people waiting for her to play contact, swing out. She's looking for that trade fragger to peak. So difficult though. Very solid start then for Supernova Comets, taking the pistol with 4 people standing at the end.
I'm looking a little bit, well, less than crisp on the, the Ninjas in Pyjamas camp. But it's the first round, it's pistols, it's a warm-up, it's fairly early in the morning over in Dallas. And, well, unfortunately, if you show just a little bit of weakness, it's a perfect opportunity for Supernova Comets to take advantage and grab that, initial lead that they can propel forward on. Lots of cash in bank here. The MAC-10s, we've seen how terrifying they are with those MAC-10s. Looking to make this a little bit of a runaway lead here. I do like the flashes, though. I get the feeling that Ninjas in Pyjamas, given where they're all set up, you were talking about was it the Furious strat? How they take mid on Mirage?
Oh,
Could
yeah.
be something that we're looking forward to here?
Yeah, that is definitely something to look out for should Mirage get played later on. Furia, most dangerous. But yeah, there's so much to go into as far as this veto is concerned. Bells are being rung all over the shop, but there are still plenty standing for Supernova Comets, so I think the damage will be somewhat limited. So yeah, Mirage, something which is often floated by NIP. Not an insta-veto for them. They're willing to play it, but if it's down to them, they'll often go for that Dust 2 pick. So let's see what they have in store then. On the Supernova Comet side, in the matches that we've seen of them so far, there's been a lot of forks, a lot of empathy. And I feel like against a team of NIP's caliber, almost said calendar, the whole team needs to be able to deliver. So Forks and Empathy are definitely the ones with huge clutch. We saw a lot of that when they were playing Anubis, but they'll need more than that if they are to topple NIP in what would be another upset, I think.
At least a little bit of damage was done in that round. It would have been great if Vilga could have snatched one of those weapons on the way out, but completely denied. That's okay. They'll still come into this round with a decent buy. And of course, this is where the big questions come into play as to how they're going to respond to this aggression from the Supernova Comets. Aggression of their own, looking to take that mid control, but very quickly shut out by Util.
Sticks looking for people without helmets. Aim is dropped very quickly indeed. And there goes Vilga as well. CT's already by the shot position, but this is looking very, very difficult. With 4 players alive, do they just retract from here? It seems they do. That's a good call. And you need to have those snap calls made a little easier with the health on Kiara and Naomi, the twins of Ninjas in Pyjamas. They can't really take a bullet and fight, so there's not much left for them to do in this round.
A lot of that came to, as I was saying, all the util in mid that made it difficult for them to take any space there. But all of that util was just kind of a distraction, a bit of a diversion, while the rest of the team just burst through onto that B side completely uncontested. And at that point, once you've already got those first opening kills, as you said, right, the best answer to that is just back away, live to fight another day. An important round, I feel like, for the Supernova Comets to win here, because this could have been a momentum turning round. So for them to have taken it so handedly, 4 players still alive at the end of the round, they've kept a lot of their weaponry, they're going to be feeling really confident with that one. And they also know that they've done quite a bit of damage to Ninjas in Pyjamas economy, where again, the decision to go for that save really comes in, it's quite a important factor, because it means that reinvest into this round isn't as bad as it could have been, which means that they'll still come into this just about fully locked and loaded.
Promptly establishing map control up top. Not massively contested by NIP. That's really nice work by Mia. She can't afford, with the position of her teammates, to just get popped there immediately, so she doesn't engage. She just wants the information. She's holding on to her utility as well. They will choose when they can fight, if they can help it. Naomi's being tested, though, with a two-person swing in that short position, which leaves Mia on an island. That smoke down will allow her teammates to rotate in by the door if they can get there fast enough, and indeed Ramzin can, coming in, but she'll be traded by Empathy, and Mia is dropped as well, which means that this round is more or less over. 2 versus 4, really poor positions as Kiara tries to find something, but the chances are very low indeed. Kiara and Vilga stuck by the shot. There's only so many rounds you can give up, so they're still having a look, but Raven may put them out of their misery, tapping from the back, and so far it is a very nice half for Supernova Comets. Not much of a fight that we've seen from Ninjas in Pyjamas just yet.
Yeah, I feel like Supernova Comets are really dictating a lot of the pacing as well. Like the utility that they're using in towards mid is fairly standard, but really effective. Smoke off window, smoke off the tunnel, a flash over the top of the smoke. So you have got 2 players swinging out into short. They manage to get that first kill there, and then they have a pretty easy split towards the B site. As much as they've called over reinforcements, the B site is obviously their weak site. So you've only got 2 players there, and because those 2 players get taken down really quickly, because again, it's another very fast and aggressive burst onto the site. At that point, what on earth are Ninjas in Pyjamas meant to do? I think that now with this timeout coming through, they're probably recognizing that the B site is a bit of a problem, a bit of a chink, a weak link in the chain that needs to somehow be reinforced. Now, whether that means more bodies or perhaps means playing a little bit more passively and then going for a stronger retake, or maybe even a little bit more proactivity. Whatever the course is going to be, something's got to change on that B site.
It's going to be round 6 before Ramzin has an AWP, before NIP have an ideal buy. So this difficult start has really reduced what they've been able to do. They've not had that ideal scenario just yet. Very tough indeed. You'll see some teams make sure they have that AWP immediately on that first buy round. Nothing doing on this occasion though. But once it comes through, we'll see how the climate changes for Ninjas in Pyjamas. And I'm not saying everything relies on Ramzin, but with your ideal configuration, the whole team can set up differently. So we'll see what happens there. I do feel like there's a world where either team could 2-0 this series as well. Information is lacking on Inferno for Supernova Comets, with only 2 games played of late, really minimal data. Same is true of NIP on Mirage. They've got a 5-4. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're starting to cook here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They need to keep these numbers up as they look to find another kill. Still with some util. Big swing from Kiara. Can't get the job done though. 35 HP for Serendipity. Now it's a 2-on-2. Vilga looking for more. Really lethal with that AK. Running out of bullets though, and health. And that leaves Mia. No bullets in the AK-47. The deagle will have to be enough. And that is a nice stolen round, and the pop-offs begin for the UK stand. Let's go.
We talk about NA's last hope. Mia, the UK's last hope. UKCS representative here. Great round from her. I wasn't sure she gets that second shot. That is insane that she's able to readjust, particularly because there's a crouch. And generally speaking, you're not aiming for the body, not with a deagle. So her reaction time there is fantastic to follow up onto that second kill. And I loved how the Comets were playing off of one another. You can see there's really good communication there, and it came down to Mia's heroics.
All right. That's a really important frag from Ramzin. That is a really important frag. So one of the really good spawns you have on the T side is Ascend in the apartments to post up with the AWP. That was an Alu special many moons ago. And you can see how many people were behind Forks with the AWP. If she gets that pick, they are sending it straight into the B bomb site. I don't know if the short player heard all those footsteps. We've got problems on the Connector side. At the same time, Empathy with 2. Look how this round has turned upside the head, leaving Mia alone on the B bomb site. That advantage was brief. A candle in the wind, and Comets brought the blizzard on A. Barely time to breathe in these rounds. The pace that Comets are bringing the fire. What a turnaround as well, after a failed attempt towards B. Now, Mia has to play contact here to give herself a fighting chance. She's got to find that first player. There is a kit. Oh, to her right. She is going to see it in time. 2 more to go. There is a smoke now. She can use that to isolate the fights. Where does she put that incendiary, though? Towards the ramp. Can she get an angle on this bomb? She's got to hold for it, but does HG will stop her from hiding. Supernova Comets 5-1. They are off to the races and then some.
Yeah, that was a bit of an egregious round. I felt like, you kick off so nicely with that AWP kill over towards the B site, and then things just kind of go awry, and maybe you've got a little bit too much focus on the B site and the fact that it's been a problem. And obviously, once whatever you're doing stops working, you're going to try something else. So the Comets are like, oh, well, they held B last round. Let's head over to A and let's do something different. And again, they're able to set up this perfect split, completely uncontested. And we've seen a little bit of presence from NIP in towards mid. And there was one round where Vulgar gets a little bit aggressive. And then since then, it's been relatively passive, a little bit more reactionary. And off the back of that, because there's like free mid control for Comets, they're going to take that. They're going to split their way in on towards the A site and apparently just hit their shots, which sounds very stupid. But sometimes that is indeed the case. They clean up every single player on the site, and it's a pretty free round for them.
Empathy getting 2 kills there from Con is a disaster. That can't happen again for NIP. And again, you start to look at the guns they're carrying and how many rounds they've had. And I was hoping when Ramsden would get an AWP, we would see an aggressive pick. That's exactly what they did. The timing was perfect for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but the overall result was certainly not. Oh, in the face. 448 damage. So I think at this point, it's time for Vilga to think about how these rounds have gone. And indeed, mid has been quite a problem. And if they've been wanting to... Actually, hold on a second. This is getting a little awkward. If Mia's on the flank with an M4 as well, and that is a very important sound cue, this should be a free kill onto Empathy, although Empathy is waiting for it. She's keeping an eye on things, but Mia is a hard person to win a duel against. Now we have another awkward round. Ramsden picks up an AK, as does Naomi. Some low health players, Ramsden especially, with no Kevlar. However, the numbers are good to cause more problems for Supernova Comets. All this util is allowing the CTs to reposition. Mia going for a big run. Oh, that smoke's disastrous. There are gaps all over the shop. Ramsden dropped in CT spawn. Mia on the way, though, as the numbers are punched in. Will they ever expect her from the ramp? Does she get a free kill here? See Naomi just doing some random burst fire, trying to run distraction, but the flank won't work out. And it will be a 6-1 scoreline for the Comets.
Timing not on their side, needing to kind of accelerate a little bit there. Footsteps get heard, the sounds of gunfire, and to Comet's credit, they're able to rally themselves really nicely, set up some solid post plant, and NIP just do not find a way back into the site. Credit where it's due for NIP, however, that was a 0 buy round just about, and they're able to get way more done than they had any right to. Slowly whistling away that econ, but with Comets at 6 rounds, it's going to take a bit more.
That's the Ramsden we want to see. Very quiet games early on in this tournament, but needs to deliver. More prompt engagement from NIP. And there's a hold from Naomi on short as well. Ninjas in Pyjamas coming to life. There is still time for some rounds to be clawed back here to give themselves a fighting chance in the second half. I wonder if they were caught by surprise in terms of the pace of Supernova Comets in mid. Maybe looking to A, have a passive defense, B, have some flashes and a retake of mid later on, but giving it up at the beginning, the Comets just kept those wheels turning to great effect, as we can see, including that rotation after losing the pick on B. Now, the money is I'd say there is a reasonable argument to try and save this AWP. This does look awkward, though. Now, you've got to be careful if you're NIP, because you've got a few more rounds to play, and you can't really afford to be chasing in this scenario. And perhaps Vilga was saying, all right, we can afford to lose one, but look at the money in that CT column. You really don't want to be throwing it away. If Raven's going to save, Raven's going to save. I think Ninjas need to prioritize their own economy so they have no shortcomings in their buys as they try to make a comeback here.
Now, this was a really solid round as well. I liked seeing a few more bodies in towards mid. The fact that the Comets kind of dry swing Ramsden at the start of the round is a bit iffy. I suppose there's a little bit of play there as well with the wall, maybe doing a little bit of jiggling. But that first opening kill is huge. And I think the Comets at that point, maybe there's a moment of like, oh, geez, what do we do now? And you don't have too much time to figure out what your response to that is going to be, because NIP are already kind of on top of you. They've reinforced mid, set up a little bit of a triangle crossfire with players towards short, down into the tunnel as well. And so as soon as Comets try to reclaim that space, they're just running straight into the NIP players. So it's a great round for NIP to start clawing their way back in, closing that deficit a little bit here. I feel like losing another round here would be tough for the NIP ladies. So they really do want to get these next few rounds, make it more of an even kilter into the half. And if they can continue with what they're doing here, play that little bit more passive, bait the Comets out into the open, and then take advantage, they're in with a good shot.
This is going to be a lightning fast one into the A bomb site then. Will it be retake territory? No one's too far forward for the CT side, but will Vilga be ready for this swing from Palace? She's able to collect two. Kiara's dropped as well, 3-on-3. As they make their way towards CT. Now, we'll want to head towards jungle. No, all three in CT, getting there very quickly indeed. Mia will be on point. Look at the lineup, though, for this T side. Raven swinging, but Ramsden's holding the angle. 2v1 now as Forks, one of those clutchers, is ready. Spots the second one, and it doesn't take long for her to finish off the job. 7-2 for the Comets.
Oh, that felt so doable as well. Vilga getting two there is kind of ridiculous considering the util that was flying at her. And then they continue along with that snowball, kind of trading out as the Comets are coming in onto the site and getting kills of their own. But that smoke, I understand, obviously the point of the smoke is to allow the retakers to come through, but it's just that little bit too far to the left. And there's just enough vision for Forks to see both of those players to get both of those kills. And I think that they wait a little bit too long to swing after that first connects, the first shot connects. But again, credit to Forks for being able to stabilize, maintain her composure, and shut that down.
Oh, not brother. Again, the 2K. This is tough, not because of what's happening in the round, but I think psychologically and the journey that these NIP girls are on, just where they are at the moment, makes it really, really difficult for them. Nice work by STX. Now, again, NIP are a young team. They've got a great leader in Vilga. I think the setup of that team is perfect for the long-term growth of Ninjas in Pyjamas. But it's going to be harder to deal with at this stage of their careers, having rounds like that where you're just getting wrecked by a MAC-10. One of the things that we need to see in this series as well, perhaps we'll see more when they get to the T side if they get a chance to show us, NIP that is having more bite, less respect, and just having that decisive, you know, if you, like, structure is important, and Vilga has given them structure, but there'll be moments where they need to decide, all right, I know what the right thing to do is here, and they need to go and take that round. And that is something that will come with time, that ruthless aggression.
Yeah. And that was something that Mia was saying as well, or rather Vilga was saying, like, they need to just get rid of their emotion and just be confident, and that's something that they really do seem to be lacking.
Comets absolutely ready with these AKs. Looking for the beef. So that presence almost pulled Naomi away from that mid area. We've got a promising push here in Palace as well. Now, where does Kiara position herself? She's got an MP9, so she can't really play CT, but if they go ramp, then she is probably done for. Now, Vilga will hear STX, so that will be a warning. She's got an AK to collect if she dares. It's a little bit out there, but she's able to collect it. So maybe the T start to look at Palace instead of default where Kiara is, and this might just work out. Kiara's got to try and stay alive and buy time for that rotation. Maybe she's done enough. Ramson is in CT with the Deagle, waiting for a peek. Here comes Serendipity, and that was lethal with the FAMAS. And then Forks is always ready with that big cannon as well. 3 on 2 as Mia starts to dance. Little does she know. Oh, never mind. Very nice work as Vilga collects Forks. 28 seconds. Raven now, the last one standing. Bomb in the middle of A, hoping for a peek. Sound cues are certainly heard. How much can Mia help with the MP9? Won't be needed. Vilga's there to clutch a much-needed round. A desperate round at this point for NIP.
Nice little bit of fancy footwork there from Vilga as well. And again, I think that really does come with the experience of time. If she stands still there, there's a very good chance she just gets pre-fired. But as she hears the footsteps coming towards her, a little bit of happy feet, dodge to the side a little bit. So the opponent's crosshair is in the wrong place and she can strike, take advantage. Beautifully done. And I think we saw quite a bit of that. Obviously, we didn't have Mia's POV there, but I would imagine that it's something similar that's happening because for her to win out that fight with the MP9 is also really impressive. So again, it's these individual moments that seem to be keeping NIP afloat. I feel like the trades that Newt was talking about a little bit earlier on just haven't been there, and a lot of that is because Comets just keep kind of running over them in the start of the round, haven't had an opportunity to actually get any of those trades.
Back to Old Faithful. Presence in mid. Now, how do the Ninjas respond? There's no forward play on A. We've got 3 around connector. Aggressively repositioned. They've gone through the smoke actually with a flash. Nades under the window. Very nice indeed. Vilga eats a flash, however. Somehow still standing. Dealt with by Raven. Awkward timing on that flash for Vilga. That could have been a lot more. Trying to take the game away from the Comets in mid. Now, Ramsin starting to peak with the AWP. She's in a really good position, all things considered. I think this might be a response to what we've seen from the T's, but Kiara will steal the frags away. This could be an important final round in the first half for Ninjas in Pyjamas. 4 on 2 as the remainder of the Comets make their way through A. Where do they plant the bomb? 30 seconds. They're looking to find some frags here. Kiara still dancing, still with a jiggle. She'll ring the bell of Serendipity at least. They may have found a way out of this. 17 seconds, Forks drops Naomi. Now Ramsin is still with the AWP on that bomb site. Great flick onto Serendipity. 10 seconds, just play the time now. Smoke is up, running distraction. Forks has to commit to this bomb plant. There's no choice. Ramsin can just send it and put her out of her misery, and that's exactly what she will do. Wonderful work by Ramsin. NIP have a chance moving into this second half.
I switch, I swerve, wonder how I have the nerve. Leaving the heat on the track, too hot and I'm lighting the match now. Blasting off, I'm rocking, grab the mic just to drop it. My Fahrenheit is shocking, amazed, dazed by the sense of grade. Come now, don't be phased, follow the trail I blaze. First place, no second to waste. Pyromaniac, fanning the flames, burn the brightest they've ever seen. Giving armor that third degree on the kerosene, and I smoke them out. Fire away, counting down. 2, 1, ready for the gamble. Top out, lights out.
Had enough of these bros. Said they wanna play ball, but they always get mad anytime we beat that. They don't tell us so though. They pretend they got gold. We should put them on blast. The man can't stand such an upset.
A strong lead for the NA stand. Supernova Comets 8-4. The score could be a lot worse. I think half of the rounds that NIP won in that half were the unlikely rounds of an MP9 here with a pistol there and so on. A little chaotic for the Comets' point of view, but Comets certainly made it chaotic for NIP as well. The action in mid, the sudden surges into the bomb sites, they were quite a problem. NIP desperately need to win this pistol round just to have a proper start in this half. Otherwise, we're talking a 10-4 scoreline in most cases. And that will not be good. With the Glocks then, go NIP quickly splitting the B bomb site. Flashes as well, making their way through. One tap from Empathy though. That is nasty work. Remainder of the T's delayed and we have the rotation coming through. Filga's lurking in connector though, but she's going to have to find a kill. Still 5 players alive. Serendipity jumping around. Nice from Filga. Will she expect one on the site though? She is having a look. Has she spotted Forks? Maybe she has, but Forks is hard to put down. Teammates rotating through ramp. Filga holding down 2 jobs at the moment, looking for those rotators. There will be one by connector. She needs her teammates to come in and fast. Oh, that's nasty from STX. And this is going to be a hard one to clutch for NIP. Ramsey in the clutch now, looking for that one by triple. Nothing doing though. That was a must-win pistol, and they did not win.
Solid performance so far from our underdogs in the Comets. A great start for them for this round as well, denying a bomb plant, so no extra cash available for NIP. So, as you predicted, right, a potential 10-4 here. I mean, there's a world in which they get something done with just the pistols, but it's going to take a nigh on a miracle with absolutely no util. I think this is probably just going to be a little bit of a throwaway round, but from the next round, everything has to be kind of perfect.
This is also a time to talk if more discussion is needed about the rounds to come. Then they can use this to visualize. But again, yeah, they need to come out with the big guns. But if they go for AKs, how much util are they going to have? Assuming they don't plant the bomb, how much util are they going to have? I think it is going to be very difficult for them to get anywhere close to a bomb site. If they run connected, and surely Empathy is going to be there as well. Oh, the HE. All I see is red. Poor Kiara. Hunted. 10-4 then. Let's see what the buy looks like for NIP.
Just the one consolation kill doesn't net them terribly much, and obviously without the bomb plant. But it still looks very workable. This is a really good collection of utility in the belt. So I think that there's still a lot of potential here for it. But as we mentioned before, right, the fact that Comets are now on double digits means that this is going to have to be a very clean and clinical round. A loss here could put them on a trajectory to the end of the map. So I'm very curious to see what the approach is going to be. And for now, it looks like a bit of an angle towards B, but this could be a problem.
Oh, Mia, the right person for the job. Raven's got to try and fall back now, but look at STX come through with the MP9. Raven gets traded. 3-on-3, things become awkward indeed. Now, STX has the bomb, but STX is not in a position where help will be on the way. However, the bomb site will be taken, and this is just very unusual. Now, what did the last two do? Forks and Serendipity. I think we'll see the best of Forks later on with the AWP. For now, it is just a FAMAS. Timing may determine, oh dear, may determine who comes out on top in this one. I don't know if Naomi saw both. I don't know if she saw anything. She may have just been looking towards top mid there, revealing herself to short. NIP have opened the correct door, however, as Vilga finds a bomb plant. Now, Forks has an opportunity for a 1v1, looking towards the window, and Vilga is coming to support as well. So it seems the round will end here. There's the crouch pick from Forks, and Serendipity is dealt with as well. Rams in with both, NIP with 5.
Really good recovery there. I was very concerned with how much aggression was coming through the B apartments, pushing straight into them. Plus, you've got a little bit of a pincer going on through the lower tunnels as well. But they're able to keep those trades going, right? And now we're seeing the stats that we saw a little bit earlier on, making sure that we keep things on a slightly more even kilter. They do lose their numbers advantage with the kill in towards mid, but that's okay because they're still able to recover off of that. A little bit of mind games, a little bit of going quiet, and they managed to not only get that bomb planted, but deny any sort of egress back onto the site.
Time for the Comets to keep all the money in the piggy bank. They can crack it open later on. It's important for NIP, I think psychologically, to be successful here. They know what they're capable of. Here in this round, that is. The simple things need to go right. They need to establish themselves in this series. Empathy does love a deagle on an eco round. It's hard for me to remember when there isn't a deagle in Empathy's hands.
Play to your strengths, I suppose.
11 frags for Empathy. Forks leading with 15. STX stepping up to the plate as well. Again, the games we've seen so far from Comets, Empathy and Forks have been head and shoulders above their teammates.
It's quite cheeky, trying to go and grab herself a rifle there. Unfortunately, will get shut down. One consolation kill. Not too much to be said about that round. So we look towards the next year, and we're starting to see a lot more coordination and cohesion from the NIP squad, which felt like it was missing on their CT side. Now it feels like maybe they've woken up a little bit. You know, they had that halftime break, probably had a little bit of a pep talk, as we know Vilga is wont to do. And it seems like things are looking that little bit better, but they've still got a little bit of a climb ahead of them. 4 more rounds to make the magic happen.
Forks lurking with the AWP. I feel like Mia might be the star fragger for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and I think I'd pick Forks over Empathy from what I've seen in this competition at least. Definitely in terms of form. No disrespect to Empathy though, also putting in the big numbers. This ladder room is a flashpoint. Mia may not know how close Empathy is. STX sees problems in the meantime, trying to hide in the smoke. We've got action all over the shop, but it is Comets who are getting the worst of it. Serendipity needs a multi-frag. Hiding in plain sight. Oh, Forks is going to catch Vilga as Ramsin is dropped by Serendipity, who is still standing. And there's the multi-frag that they needed. Things turn around, and Mia finds herself in the clutch once again. 1 versus 3 now. Such a tough job. I think she spotted 2 of the 3, but the trades will be there, and Comets are back. They really know how to just turn rounds on their head in this map.
They're really good at rallying themselves. And I think that that's such an impressive quality, particularly in such a young roster, that they have that kind of mental fortitude. And I suppose having a little bit of experience on LAN certainly helps with that. So this isn't like a total unknown experience for them, and they're not coming in completely green. So, you know, that's definitely playing in their favor. But for NIP, this is not the best look. I mean, they've starting to pull things back under their belt and then instantly smacked back down. Just one round that they're able to pick up. And then, of course, the anti-low buy. And then as soon as there's guns in hand again, they just really struggle to keep that pacing going, keep that momentum going. And I think that that really speaks to how Comets are able to diversify their approaches to each of these rounds. Like, they're not getting terribly telegraphed. They're just playing really simple kind of isolation tactics, and it's working beautifully.
One Molotov at the beginning of this round for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Shortcomings all over the shop as far as their utility is concerned. They've got the AKs. If they can deal with forks, then maybe they can keep this going. Moving for an ace split then. Smokes are up, SGX can't see much. Kiara with a nice frag on the ramp. Not ready for Serendipity though, who's looking for a second again. This time the frags come streaming in for NIP. Big HE for Forks, but will it be a dry peek? They know where she is now. That's really important because Forks and an AWP is very dangerous indeed. Running distraction as Raven looks to be offered something, a way back into this round. The money is really bad for these CTs though. They definitely want to hold on to this AWP. It'll be fantastic if NIP can take it away. They can do exactly that.
It's the right call from Comets as well to just try and pull back and hold on to the weaponry. Like, as the decision was happening, I'm looking at their money going, well, surely this is when they pull back. But for NIP, a statement to get that round and ensure that every single gun is taken away. And that looked more like the form that we were kind of expecting. Some really good utility comes out. They do their own little bit of isolation as well. And I think that they're also starting to read a little bit into the positioning that the Comets have on the site. So now they kind of realize, all right, this is kind of where we can expect these players to be. So this is where our flashes need to land. This is where our mollies need to land. And they're able to kind of turn that into a solid round win. So now the question becomes, what is the potential adaptation going to be for the Supernova Comets? You know, this round going to be a little bit of a low buy. If anything, looks like it's just going to be upgraded pistols and a smattering of
they're forcing. I saw an MP9 come in and then disappear again. I see a lot of Desert Eagles though. NA Deagles has me scared.
True. Especially with the
in Pyjamas. So let's see, have they gone for the full force? Okay, Forks is keeping AWP money, but apart from that, it's pretty much a force buy.
Oof.
So, I mean, again, that comes down to calculating how many rounds are left. If we buy now, how many buy rounds do we have? If the maths make sense, then you might as well throw everything at it. Raven somehow dodges some of that damage. But again, this is definitely a dangerous round for NIP. A lot of unknowns for them. They don't have a lurker towards A. They do have plenty of util though. So they can smoke off some of these choke points, clear out the ladder room. But I wonder, rounds like this, where the other team's on a force buy and the clock starts to tick, does get a little worrisome. The only smoke grenade, fortunately for NIP, is over towards the A-bomb site. No one rotating just yet for the CT side. Oh. They seem to be doubting. I feel like there's some hesitation here for NIP. Heading towards B and suddenly not feeling it, but they don't really have position to go somewhere else. There are 30 seconds on the clock. And yeah, you start to wonder if the dream is collapsing. They've got to get some more frags here. Aim and Ramsey will do exactly that, but that bomb still needs to get planted. Still nervous territory, still Deagle's creeping as they slowly go into these angles. The bomb needs to be picked up. Svilga's got 7 HP. She needs to make it to the bomb site and plant. There are 10 seconds. If she got dropped there, who knows what happens. This is a nervous, twitchy NIP. They didn't have position to rotate there. Whew. Not over just yet. There's nothing to lose here for the remainder of Comets. Just waiting for a mistake to be made. Holding those tight headshot angles. Serendipity will hold on to her Kevlar and kit then, it seems. And NIP survived that one. That was a very scary round.
It felt like they were getting in their own heads a little bit too much there. And obviously, so on a round like that, I almost expect a bit of aggression from your CTs, but the Comets instead opt to play a bit of info starve, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't really have a lot of util, so they just play passive. They just chill, and they wait to see what NIP are doing. And NIP, it seems like they're getting a little bit paranoid. They're not seeing anything. No one's pushing anywhere. And it's a bit like, oh, geez, where are these ladies? And as they start pushing in towards the site, well, you said about the NA Deagles. They are quite terrifying, perhaps not being as clinical as they needed to be to get in on towards the site there. But with the superior weaponry, they keep it far less close than it could have been, and they allow themselves another round and force Comets back down onto pistols, and this is starting to look a lot more competitive.
That was a hard round to deal with, because Vilga's going to be asking, why is no one showing? If there's a stack on A, surely there'd be somebody on B showing, trying to force us away, maybe throwing util or something, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
So there's doubt, which makes sense. But also, they don't have position. There's no one doing an investigation towards A. The clock is ticking as well. So that moment of hesitation made things very awkward, and you have to credit Comets for not showing and making it that awkward.
Oh.
Here's Empathy then with that Deagle. Scary stuff. There's a reason Empathy always has a Deagle, and you saw a glimpse of it there. We have to say, though, this score is getting close. Now, Comets will have a very good buy in the next round, but the deficit will only be 2. Now, with these frags that the CTs have been getting on these crap rounds, they are keeping the T's honest as far as their economy goes. So we'll see if that has a part to play in the remainder of this half.
I was living for another shot there, and like a third kill to connect, and then maybe they save 2 guns into the next round, and suddenly things start to look a little bit spooky. But unfortunately for Empathy, not able to make that one happen. NIP, I mean, I feel like even with the rounds that they're winning, they're still, like, you can't start getting comfortable here. You can't start feeling like, all right, cool, we're back in control, because these rounds are not clean. They're still taking a lot of damage under a lot of heavy fire consistently, and there isn't a moment yet where they can be like, all right, cool, now we're playing our game. It still feels very much like they're playing Comets' game. They're winning it at the moment, but you can see the discomfort. There needs to be a moment where they kind of, and that might even be what's being said right now, is just, guys, we keep kind of playing into what they want us to do. We're letting them dictate the pacing, and we kind of need to take charge, take control, and stop allowing them to dictate where we go and how, what we do.
I like to look at who's got the biggest smile on the profile pictures on the HUD.
Okay.
But I looked at Mia's picture, and her face is just straight murder, which is what she does on the server and what NIP needs as an attitude across the whole squad. She came for homicide, and the rest of the squad need to be doing the same if they want to tie the score here versus the Comets. All about the T sides here in this game of Mirage, but can NIP be equal to what we saw from Comets, at least in score? 3 players waiting in apartments. Vilga's the right person to, again, have that spatial awareness and know what decisions to take in mid, while Mia keeps an eye on things towards B. Again, where are all the CTs? The perennial question. Where on earth are they? Vilga. Oh, that timing from Serendipity, such a tight angle. How much does that mean? Kiara creeping out and manages to get that frag, but where is Forks? This is surely going to be a nasty surprise. The way you find out where Forks is when Forks has dropped someone on your team. 43 seconds, bomb getting planted, Forks having a look, and no one's covering CT! Big trade, 35 seconds. Got to get that bomb planted quick before those smokes go. 2 plays in the red for NIP. STX coming through now. Oh, Kiara is in such a dire situation. Ramsin dropped, Kiara trades. This is very nervous territory. And it's, of course, Mia in the clutch versus Raven. She's been lurking the whole time. She hasn't fired a single bullet, but Raven is looking in the right place. Mia being very patient. I think she saw Raven and saw that she's off the bomb. Focus on Connector, but I told you, she is a demon on the server and delivers the goods.
Whew. All right, that got a little bit stressful if you're an NIP fan. Geez, yeah, down to the wire, it felt like that not covering CT was so odd. I think the fact that they hadn't heard an AWP shot, maybe they got a little overconfident, like, all right, cool, they're probably not here. We're, you know, reasonably safe. The other issue is that, the other potential, I suppose, is that Ramson's like, hang on, guys, I'm up in Palace, but I can't just push out. So I can't watch CT, and maybe a bit of a miscommunication, but they do stabilize. They maintain that control, bring the deficit to 1, a massive economic advantage into this round. Now, Empathy does still have an AWP here, interesting in and of itself, but a round is always winnable when you have that in your grasp. And now a big part of what needs to happen is locating, isolating, and shutting down that AWP as quickly as possible.
Well, in terms of locating, have a look at STX's position, immediately pushed into the apartment. This is the kind of round where you can afford to take risks. You must take the risks. That position allows our greater focus on this A bomb site. The chain flashes have to have a swing with them, but no one's clearing the inner left corner. Mia on point with a grenade in her hand is going to be a problem. And now Serendipity can just run distraction and delay this. And there's a full rotation from the remainder of the CTs. There's such little margin for error from NIP now. Raven still standing for the moment, dropping Vilga and Kiara. And it's Ramsin left, and only Ramsin with the AWP. 1 versus 2. She's in the clutch. There's a good sense of where these players might be. That AWP still lurking. So hard to peak angles. There will be a rotation. Is she close enough to hear it? I don't think so. 27 seconds left. She doesn't have the bomb right now. Oh, brutal, brutal. They had the chain flashes in there, but no one clearing the inner corner, and that puts Comets on game point.
It felt like the follow-up wasn't what it needed to be, unfortunately. I mean, you know, you're coming into a bit of a, like, your opponent should be on a low buy, so you need to be aware of the kind of cheesy, off-angly, up close and personal, try and shut you down shenanigans. And with all of those flashes coming through, there were so many opportunities, and opportunity knocked. There was no one at the door. What is at the door is 2 AWPs now. Like, Comets want to take this home. They are done.
When double AWPs appear, the way you find out is often by losing a round. Vilga in the apartments then. Oh, the timing is ridiculous. Walks straight into a HE grenade. She'll show some presence. Let's see if this pulls any players away from that B bomb site. Empathy and Raven towards B. They're not putting that third player though. STX is staying focused on the A area. Naomi with an important trade. Aim dropped by Forks. So they make their way into the site. Look at the trades continuing for the Comets, but now we're down to a 2-on-2. There's a minute on the clock. There is plenty of time if they can stay alive. Empathy and Raven. I like to switch out instead of the reload. Allows Ramsin to reposition at the very least. Oh, the bomb's committed. The bomb's on the floor on the A bomb site. So even with all the time they have, they still need to find a way to get that. Vilga looking for Raven. Raven looking for Vilga. Both teams have half the info. That is a nice HE though. But again, how do they get to that bomb? They don't have any util. You see Ramsin scavenging for more. And Vilga's coming through to try and clutch down to the 1v1. Raven and Ramsin, 20 seconds on the clock. Does she commit to the bomb plant here? Raven still in CT. Ramsden with a big swing! That's exactly what they needed. NIP stay alive.
I wasn't sure if they were actually going to commit that plant. I thought maybe you tap it and hope somebody's going to swing out, and it felt like Raven had a similar inkling of that's maybe what they're trying to do. So I need to play a little bit more passive. Don't swing out here and give over that 1v1 unnecessarily. She does eventually swing out, but it's a beautiful push from Ramsden to clutch out that round and give them just one more opportunity. And look at the Comets' money. This is definitely doable for them, but it's not ideal.
Big adrenaline dump for Ramsden after that one, but time to get focused again. 19 kills for her, and Vilga, it's her turn to send it. A taste of their own medicine maybe, with a really fast play into the B bomb site. Vilga taking B by force. Fork still standing, smoke in the door, but there are avenues for these CTs. 2 MP9s and an AWP. Stay the hell away from Forks. They still have multiple smoke grenades. Oh, I've got to be careful about that window. That was the warning shot they needed. I don't think they'll be doing that again. 4-on-3 for NIP for overtime in the first map of the series. Perfect timing for a smoke on the door. These choke points are on lockdown. More util coming through, and they've just got to run to their demise. Instant trade from Ramsden. Overtime is here. They've made the comeback.
The first overtime of the ESL Impact Season 7 finals, and it happens so close to the end of the tournament in our first semi-final, and I don't think that's the way that we wouldn't want it to be any other way in a semi-final here. And when you consider that we came into the half at an 8-4, things were looking really dire for Ninjas in Pajamas. This has been a really solid resurgence for them, but the battle's only just begun. Remember, this is the Supernova Comets map pick, so a win here could set them up for success. Both teams now need to lock in. A single misstep could be the difference between going up 1-0 and, well, going in with a bit of a shot to the leg in the next map.
Seems these T rounds are going to be real important for both squads. This game may be won on the T side, at least with the action we saw in regulation. A rare miss from Forks. But again, we're not really seeing over-rotations from Comets. They're confident in their positions. Very good timing on their nades as well. Getting a lot of mileage out of those on Mirage. A minute on the clock for NIP to find something in this round. Pulling back from mid. What does that mean, though? Do the CTs go for info? Very forward positions on the A bomb site. You can see that crossfire. That is waiting for these players. There are mollies, though. There is a ton of utility. But do they play contact? Mia out looking towards CT with the AK. Serendipity with very good timing now. They're all going to be laser focused on that one position, an easy bait for Raven to punish. And this buys time for the rotation as well, because they can't deal with this crossfire just yet. 12 seconds to get this bomb planted. Seems round one will go to the Comets.
Rough way for that one to kick off. I like the fact that they were going for the contact play. I think that there's a lot of potential in that. But unfortunately, not checking those close angles. And it's not the first time that we've seen NIP neglect to check a cheeky angle, but a necessary one nonetheless. They spot the first player over towards default, and they're not looking for the second. And that opens up a whole world of hurt. And a lot of where this kicks off is that slightly elevated position in mid that allows them to spot Vilga over the smoke. And at that point, you are already at a numbers disadvantage.
Double orbs again. That's a big win. That's a big relief for Comets to win the first round on their CT side if things are to go as they did. But of course, all teams are getting a lot of information from these rounds. Top mid not working out so well for Ninjas in Pajamas right now. Another 5-on-4, very promising for the Comets. Not feeling overly pressured right now. That's an important frag for Vilga. That should have been a 5-on-3 for STX though. Okay, AWP spotted. 1 minute on the clock. Great timing on the frag, regardless of the flash. And Empathy is ready to focus on the apartments. Nice work from Mia, but there's more to do because Raven is here and Kiara will deal with her. That is a cleaned out A bomb site. And who's in position to cut off the rotation? Never mind, Vilga is dropped down to a 2-on-2. Bomb planted in the shop again are the remainder of the Comets. No util, just AKs for NIP. Serendipity is very, very low. Comets hoping to be given something. Kiara running distraction. Down goes Serendipity. Now, how does Forks deal with this? That's such a long barrel to expose her position as she makes the play. Oh, no, not really! Forks looking for one more. How on earth did she get that kill? And the snap on Kiara. That is an outrageous clutch on B.
No shot, bro. I mean, you can see even she's like, what have I just done? How have I done that? The no-scope, the flick with the pistol, that seemed unwinnable. And she's made absolute magic happen here. And slowly but surely, NIP seeing their chances slipping through their fingers. Remember, their T side was where they brought things back into contention, where they started to have a chance again. And the first 2 rounds of OT with them on the T side have slipped away. Once we move over onto CT, it's gonna have to be absolute perfection. This is the last chance they have to get a little bit of a buffer going before we swap sides. And for it to have gone that disastrously because it started so well and they allowed themselves to get isolated. And perhaps there's a bit of overconfidence there, like, you know, we can do this, even if, because it should have an AWP in hand, so this should be fine. And you allow yourself to get too confident. You allow yourself.
What is that?
I don't even think she knows, man.
That's crazy. NIP are going to need a squeezy toy and an ice cream to recover from what just happened in that round. Honestly. How do you regroup after losing a round like that? You should never lose that round. But you have to focus on the next one. The ink is dry, can't do anything about it. Vilga spots 2. Is there anything to be done with that information though? That's going to activate them on A. There will be a flash. Forks not hitting every shot now, but will deliver eventually. Kiara is dropped. CT's racing in. Ramzan and Mia still standing. A quick bomb plant would be nice, but there is a minute here. Mia and CT with the bomb. But soon these smokes will be gone. Oh, they've lost their angles on A as well. They're going to feel stuck. If they wanted to rotate towards B, how would they deal with the crawl space here? Look at this angle from Raven. Oof. Making even nasty. Was she heard jumping up though? I think she might have been, but still, Mia not quite getting there. Down to the Tech 9 now, and she'll be denied as well. That is a disaster of a half for Ninjas in Pajamas. They come away empty-handed.
Oh, they had so much going for them, but it felt like there were a few missed shots. Like, they're spotting out players. The first AWP shot doesn't connect. They know where the AWP is, but they're not able to shut it down. So they lose so much of the advantage that they got, the information from Vilga. But again, they start that round at a deficit. And of course, she's going fishing. She's trying to find info, maybe get an opening kill. But dying there leaves her team hamstrung. Now, they have to somehow mount an incredible side.
Have a look at this send from Comets. Keep it simple. Just send it into the bomb site as the CTs try to make their play elsewhere. Hold on, though. Vilga looking to get 3. Close, but not quite. She's made it doable for her team, though. Can Naomi do anything about this bomb plant? Aim doesn't make it into CT in time, but STX is kind of on an island here and will be dropped very quickly indeed. Down to the 1v1 again. She knows where Forks is. Oh, looking for the combo. Inviting the peak with the AWP, but Forks denies, and you can see the frustration. That was a horrible overtime for Ninjas in Pajamas, but Comets took that one by force.
Honestly, well done to the Comets. It was a very back and forth affair in that second half. The first half, they were very much in map 3, and then they have that chance. But if they lose here, hopes and dreams falter at the final hurdle.
The pick of Ninjas in Pyjamas, Inferno, a map they are very familiar with, a map they are very confident on. I think Vilga will be laser focused on this one as well. I expect the biggest problem here in the second half for Comets when they're on the CT side, it's going to be Forks with an AWP. That's going to be huge. I think that'll be a big priority for them, but let's see how things look before we get that in this first half. Empathy, being real careful, popping Vilga through the corner of the wall, showing some presence towards B. But a very methodical pissed around it looks like. You can see the remainder of them just waiting for an overreaction from NIP. But they're playing defensive on A, but look at these numbers. Comets looking to bully their way onto the A-bomb site, 5-on-2. They are very good with these one-taps also. So how do they deal with this? Mia, so good in the pit. Mia and Kiara will catch 4 of them, leaving STX. Have a look at that. 2-on-5. STX, the only one standing as NIP come through. Got to land these headshots and quick, dancing around the pillar, but Vilga, the talisman of the squad, will get that final kill. That's a fantastic hold on the A-bomb side.
Usually in situations like that, you're looking for that crossfire, like, yes, they must have known. It was literally Mia aiming down short towards where those players are coming in. She gets 2 kills. Kiara, she's out towards Library, and she gets the next 2 kills totally independently, and they shut down the push in towards the site. Now, they don't deny the bomb plant, which is a huge boon for the Comets, and it's going to allow them to invest a little bit into this, but it certainly feels like the NIP players are feeling a little bit more comfortable. If I remember correctly, they lost both pistols in the previous map, so for them to have now managed to get this pistol under their belt, that was one of the big things that we spoke about. They used to suck on pistols, but they've become a lot better at it. So now to have that under their belt and potentially turn into a springboard could be a big help for them.
Nice from Naomi. Falling back. Again, I feel like Comets like a bit of chaos, and they are an NA team. That kind of puggy chaos will definitely go in their favor, because you have to come up through that. You have to survive that if you are to find success in North America. It is a tool in the box, and especially on a map on Inferno, which is quite amenable to just abusing numbers in these tight channels, trading through, seizing a bomb site, forcing the CTs who haven't rotated just yet to save and so on. That might prove difficult to deal with for NIP. It's a lot of info for Naomi. Sees a lot of people just waiting in that long position, isolating their way towards A now. Nice burst from Kiara. Mia picking up the slack. And here comes the help from Ramsden. She's been hurt though, 35 seconds. NIP are going to take the remainder of this round by force. It feels dangerous the way Comets will just wait for a response. They're kind of seeking that response. It's not going to come as a surprise. They want that response. I think those slow plays where they try and use the time they have are going to be a problem for NIP as this half continues.
And it's interesting because obviously Sam mentioned, or Tickle mentioned at the start of the day about how Brandon was saying he felt like this was one of NIP's weaker maps. But from what we've seen over the last few days, Vilga calls an absolute barn burner on this map. And, well, it's kicking off in a very similar fashion. Of course, it is just the first 2 rounds, but when you set yourself up for success like that, it's a lot easier to just tip over, you know, let the cup runneth over.
With the difficulties of that last game for NIP, I think, of course, Vilga will have been in these tough positions many a time before, but it's good to go through that and survive it and be able to deal with it and keep your focus. Perhaps that pistol round on A was a good initial test. Limiting the damage here would be fantastic. Ninjas in Pyjamas needs to keep that CT money. Raven knows exactly where Mia likes to play. Dealing with Mia, though, is another question. So that's the start that NIP wanted.
And this is where the Comets are going to be able to get a buyout. So this could be where things turn on their head. So this is one of those rounds where NIP need to be like extra cautious. And obviously in like low buy rounds or enemy low buy rounds, you're still cautious because you're looking out for shenanigans. This time around, you're looking out for, okay, they have firepower. They're probably going to have set plays. We don't really know what to expect. So we need to keep cool, calm, and collected.
T-side AWP on Inferno is strongest post-plant. And you need to be that kind of battle sniper to make it effective before you get that far. I think Fork certainly is one of those types. Tagging Vilga through the wall. Now, Ramsin on the other side, in recent Infernos, has been somewhat missing with that AWP. Lacking impact, missing some shots, some entries on that T-side and so on. We'll be looking to her to have a better time of things on this occasion. It can be up and down, but it certainly needs to be up in this scenario where they are trying to catch up with Comets. Again, an exchange at the beginning, but then they go quiet. The quieter they are, the less information the CTs have. Perhaps ultimately looking to abuse those numbers and surge onto a site. So now they've established control of Banana. Will they go for a full take of top mid? There are a lot of CTs here waiting for that part of the default. Mia facing the wall will be traded by Naomi. And there is someone to take Mia's place as well, which might not be expected by STX. Still 3 players on Banana. Ramsin making her way over. She doesn't have util to support a push. Oh dear, that could be really important. That smoke has absolutely gone awry. Ramsin blind, but she'll still have an angle to deliver on Serendipity. Fall back now as Vilga waits. That time is ticking. 17 seconds to get the bomb planted. Vilga dropped. They know Ramsin's coming from, but they can't stop her. STX will trade, but the CTs have got the numbers, or do they? Kiara is rotating now through CT, the last one standing. 1 versus 2, and Forks is posted up with the AWP. Again, this is the strongest time for a T-side AWP, the hardest challenge for Kiara to deal with, but it's Empathy who will secure the first round for the Comets.
Empathy not showing very much empathy over the course of the last couple of days. Absolutely ruthless. And that felt like a bit of a messy round from NIP as well. Like they had so many advantages, not least of which being that there was a bit of missed utility. But particularly here towards the church, it felt like there was a little bit of overconfidence, peeking out unnecessarily. And to be fair, Empathy was very snappy with it, credit where that's due. But for NIP, it needed to be cleaner. They kind of let that advantage slip away from them. How's that happen?
Maybe a combo. Must have been a combo. Tag or a HE. Oof. Maybe a HE with the molly then. That can be a bit horrible. Ramsin able to fall back. But top mid has been taken, has been secured very quickly indeed. There are problems here for NIP because there are so many T-side players on road. Look at this, though, from the CTs. Vilga and Kiara combining to do huge damage on long. I don't think the Comets were expecting that. And perhaps that's NIP responding to the pacing of Comets and seizing the game from them.
Absolutely. Don't allow them in onto the site. That's a really important thing, I feel like, on a map like this. If you can deny them that space entirely and stop them from even getting into a post-plant position, you've won half the battle. And the fact that they still had some of that util available, they were able to rotate themselves across quickly enough, throw those flashes out. And Vilga, I think that was like a 3 or a 4K from her at the end of the round there. Perfectly executed. But again, hero plays. If you're relying on that too much, it can become a problem. For now, they're comfortable with a 3-round lead. But if things start to get messy, it could become an issue.
Oh, is she going to get traded? The support doesn't quite work out, but Kiara with the double nade will stop the damage from getting even worse. 2 players lost, AWP secured. Oh, I was worried when I saw she didn't choose to fall back on this occasion. Obviously, we can see what's around the corner. And all I saw was pain, but Kiara with a money HE. 3 points for Kiara on that one.
Yeah, really solid communication there as well between the ladies, and a good read from them as well. Again, knowing that it's going to be like a little bit of an anti-eco vibe, they've reinforced the correct site, and they're ready and waiting for that aggression to come through. And okay, it does get a little bit dicey, the Deagles get scary, but they're able to play off of each other perfectly, and again, communicate really well where that's coming in.
The fight for Banana begins. Empathy's been barbecued in this position before. Force back a little. Now, will this be checked? There's a lot of jumping going on, and they'll be looking for that. That's a great flashbang. Do they commit, though? Smoker is still up, but Vilga is playing it careful, trying to reduce the variance. Ramsin changing her position then. Still alive. Mia's been dropped, though. She is so important on this A bomb site. Does that invite the T's to head towards A later on? They're still establishing control of top Banana, and they've got top mid. Now, this is exactly what you want on the T side. Full map control and a 5 versus 4. There's no information for the CTs. Now, sometimes you'll have your AWPer, especially on short, move up shorts a little later on to try and get that info, get some idea as to what's happening towards top mid. But Ramsin's playing in the pits with the AWP at the moment, and there is going to be a clash of ideas here on long, which Raven wins the duel of. Looking to wrap towards the B bomb site then. So many T's on road, and Vilga playing far back. Is she able to fall back? No, she will get traded. Now, how much more do you throw at this? Naomi's found one through the smoke, and that makes it doable. Bomb not planted yet, 2-on-2. Ramsin rotating through with the AWP. This can be done now for NIP. Comets moving together. They've been so good at trade fragging and baiting also. Making a 2-person setup. Ramsin dealt with. Naomi, oh, it's going to back off and wasn't ready for that deep angle that Serendipity took, which makes a second for the Comets.
Solid reposition as well to kind of just tuck in around your retaking CTs, and just completely unaware that that's busy happening. It's always a possibility, but you're not entirely sure. There's so much in your face, smokes that obscure vision, so you're not entirely sure of what's happening there, and unfortunately it does go a little bit awry. And that's again what I was saying about you've got to deny that bomb from being planted. A team like the Comets, once that bomb is planted, their post plants have been pretty solid. So if you're allowing them to get that down, your chances of retaking, particularly if you're at like a similar numbers or a deficit, drastically tank.
Comets have broken that CET economy. They've put NIP in the bin. Interesting setup though from NIP with these pistols. 1 for 1, Kiara looking for another. Just about getting there. Raven with the 360, but it ain't MLG today. 4-on-3. Vilga trying to stay alive. Looking for a cheeky one, not quite making the angle. There's a pop flash. She's going to creep in, but Forks is ready. Naomi making some steps. That may slow things down as rotation comes through. She needs to stay alive, though. So a difficult scenario. There is a little util left being deployed now for that CT side. Looking for the swing. Naomi will lead with the rifle behind. SCX in the back. How does Forks get involved in this? Because SCX is kind of stuck. There's Forks to try and save the day. And now it's a 1 versus 2. Forks doesn't know where Mia is, swinging with the AK, but the quickscope from Forks, nasty on the AWP, saving the day once again.
Yeah, sometimes you'll question that T-side AWP, but when it's in Forks' hand, you can't question it. It is immaculate. And again, it's a scenario where that bomb is planted, and even then you're looking at it like, come on, it's a 3 versus 2. Naomi could pick up a gun. There's so many scattered around. She doesn't even need a gun. She gets a kill with the Deagle, and suddenly things are looking doable. But Forks is unbelievable. She isolates each and every single one of those duels and manages to flick into that final shot and clutch out around that. Maybe they shouldn't have been able to win, but they do bring it home. Now, bearing in mind that that was a round that NIP didn't really invest too much into because they didn't have a whole hell of a lot of money. So anything that they got done in that round was massive. So they're going to be happy overall with how it went. They'll come into this with a little bit more cash, and perhaps now they can turn things back around. A little bit more of a competitive affair than what we saw at the start of our previous map, but NIP can't really afford to lose that momentum now.
Forks is a big problem with that AWP. We can see good spirits on the NIP squad, although I feel like Mia might still be steaming from the end of that last one. But she applies that well. Everybody's fragging on the NIP team. She could take out her anger on the opponents. Tech pause, people headsets are off, so we won't say too much because we know we're in the arena right now. Hello to everybody in Dallas, especially the Quake nerds. Every time I see somebody with their setup to their pistol or their gun is in the middle, it just makes me think of QuakeCon, which also takes place in a similar area. Lots of history with Quake and CS.
Is there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Technical history.
Gotcha. I'm a little bit late to the CS party.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You're still young and beautiful.
Certainly young.
Well then, this is a spicy one, that is for sure. There's enough util on the CT side. You don't want Ramsden throwing util too much, you want her AWPing, and she is delivering on that AWP. Starting with 3 towards B on the CT side. And right place, right time for Forks. These 4v5 starts are not healthy for NIP or any team. But especially when you're trying to stabilize your money. This is a tough scenario. Lots of good map control for the Comets. They have everything. But the CTs have to try and make a play. They've got to try and do something. They don't have info. They'll probably be in a 2v4 when Comets try to decide where they want to go. And it's only getting worse towards Banana. Kiara dropped. Mia domed from the side. This is going to be a really big setback for this team. Vilga's got to find a place to scurry away and hide with this AWP.
Another one of these teams had a phenomenal buy-in. Obviously, Comets had the better of the two. And they used that to their advantage quite nicely. Again, we're seeing them kind of pick up that pace a little bit more here. And NIP struggling to maintain. Obviously, the initial problem is that Ramsden goes in for an aggressive hold, which I don't hate. In fact, I love that. I love a dynamic AWPer, someone that's comfortable being aggressive. One of my favorite AWPers is Khan. I mean, she's known for that. So I love that she attempts it, but unfortunately, she gets caught out. And that is a huge opener for the Comets. You take off one of the biggest factors for NIP, one of the biggest suppressive elements. And from then on, you have a much easier way in because not only have you given yourself the numbers advantage, but you've taken away a lot of what could slow you down. And then you pivot. Don't even hit that site. Move away, move down towards the other side of the map. You get free entry in onto there. And again, bomb planted. What on earth could possibly be done? And for Vilga, I think one of the big priorities there was holding on to the AWP. So Ramsden now has a second opportunity to get some much needed value out of it.
There we go. Big opening frag, but look at the W from NIP, maybe trying to bulldoze the AWP position. It is a hero warp in this round. Kiara up closer to 5-7, could deliver something. Oh, the 5-7, so lethal. Some info onto Forks as well. Kiara trying to buy some time, being a nuisance. Oh, nasty with the deagle. That allows Ramsden to have a look. She can't really post up again though. 4-on-2, maybe enough has been done. Naomi not engaging, very smart. Ramsden in shotgun mode. She knows her scope will be heard, but now she's scoped in. She can potentially reposition a little. T-side are surrounded. That gun has been spotted as she looks to creep around the corner. Naomi, but is unable to deliver. And they've broken things open now. No one else is between them and the B bomb site. Ramsden being careful just in case they double back. STX moving round and Vilga will deal. Forks in the clutch now. Make sure you've got everybody because Forks will clutch this if you give her half a chance. Instant trade from Mia. She will love that. NIP to 6.
That's an outrageous round from NIP, all things considered. They get away with absolute murder. And they just allow the Comets to kind of take that space. And you can even see when it's those last two players, the way that they have corralled in, every single point of egress is covered. Now, of course, they do win out the battle in towards CT spawn, so they're able to pivot over. But, and a part of me is like, surely you kind of tighten the noose a little bit, move in, but you don't want to get overconfident. So instead, they play the smart game, and this is why I'm not a pro player. They play the smart game, and instead, they allow that space to be taken. They have the information. Cool, it's a pivot. Leave Rams in where she needs to be in case they, as you mentioned, double back. And instead, you kind of meet them where they are headed towards. It's a really good call from Vilga. It's a really solid play, and it gives them a little bit more room to breathe in this half. And we only have 2 rounds left here. It's an even buy into this next one. So it's kind of anyone's game because economy is really not great for either one of these two teams. So whoever wins out on this round could very easily snowball into the next.
Sam wasn't joking about the size of those strap books. Bloody hell.
The quick book.
2 well-equipped teams looking to exchange again on this banana position. Empathy has found more success of late. Still, the grenades are flying through. Not expecting Empathy to be so far. There will be a trade, though. But again, that 4-on-4 will favor the T side. Looking to seize long once more. STX dancing around those crappy CT incendiaries. Now, where do they go? They'll look for a CT to misplace themselves and pick them off, give them an opening. How far does Naomi go? She's walking, looking for that information, and that's what Comets are waiting for. Curiosity. NIP have to be real careful. Ramsin trying to understand the climate on Banana. Racing in towards B now. Once they clear the site, Forks is going to post up on Banana, I reckon. And if Ramsin comes around that corner, she might be in trouble. Looking maybe to incendiary the default plant, but I think she can hear it. No? All right. Lovely work from Ramsin. The HE gives them an advantage. Teammates still rotating over. There are kits on all these players. There are smokes that need to dissipate. Mia has a flash in CT. She's by the well. I'm not sure if it will impact Forks' position, though. The slow peek at least gets them the info. Down to a 2-on-2. Clock is ticking. Kiara's got incendiaries, not to be used, though. Mia will be traded by Forks after dropping STX, and it will be Comets with another round.
Comets post plants, man. I've hopped on this a few times, but they really are so strong. You really struggle to gain any ground when you're trying to retake into that. And I think like a lack of utility always plays into it, not having a flash to deal with Forks and get her off of her angle.
They had util.
Oh.
Kiara had an incendiary. I want to say a smoke. Mia had a... I think it was Mia who had a flash. I don't know what they did use and didn't use. I don't think they used the incendiary or the smoke. Okay, I don't think they used the incendiary, but she might have not had the right angle from where she was coming from. But these are crushing losses because it's crippling the CT bias for ninjas in pajamas.
Yeah.
Comets are doing just enough to make that CT defense a little weaker. Interesting fights around Banana. Empathy getting hyper aggressive. Also, the surges from the T side on long have been quite interesting. We saw some fight back from NIP in one round, but they've often been uncomfortable and ill-positioned to do something about it. Comets are getting more map control earlier as well due to these weaker buys. Empathy popping out, that's 2 for 0. Exactly what NIP need to balance the books here. And now you look at the economy on the T side. They have very little money, indeed. 26 seconds. Are they going to go for this? There's a reasonable chance they give. Oh, they have to go for it. Last round and a half, of course. 13 seconds. B site is absolutely clear. So it will be 7 for Ninjas in Pajamas at the end of the half. Very tense stuff in Dallas.
How I have the nerve, leaving the heat on the track. Too hot and I'm lighting the match now. Blasting off and rocking. Grab the mic just to drop it. My Fahrenheit is shocking. Amazed, dazed by the centigrade. Come now, don't be phased. Follow the trail I blaze. First place, no second to waste. Pyromaniac, fanning the flames. Burn the brightest they've ever seen. Giving armor that third degree. I'm a kerosene and I smoke them out. Fire away, counting down. 2, 1, ready for the gamble now.
Yo con lo mío quiero gozar. Dale pa' acá, dale pa' allá. Se prendió la fiesta, se prendió la fiesta.
Ninjas in Pajamas so far with a better performance than what we saw a little bit earlier on today, but definitely not out of the woods just yet. A 7-5 half with them in the lead and their chances of grand finals on the line here. They need to close out this second map, but you were saying it during the break. Forks, CT sided up. Things could get very scary.
I mean, it's scary already. Raven is a raid boss. Julie's alone towards B with no utility whatsoever, which is very interesting. Sending it down Banana while NIP send it straight up towards that short position. They've got a bait set up on the balcony. Do the Comets with STX in the pit, and that is working swimmingly at present. But guess who? It's Mia coming through, only to get domed. And there is Forks with 2 at the end. That was a very fast pistol round. That went the way of Comets.
Ah, those dualies, man. Do love a good dually. It starts off really well for NIP. Opening kill, you're like, all right, cool, there's an opportunity here, but no, completely shut down. Plant denied. And of course, Comets going to be feeling very good into this next one. MP9s abound. So of course, going to be trying to farm up as much cash as humanly possible. And again, we got Forks saving up for the AWP there. She is so ready to pull that out.
Lots of HE grenades for Comets, 4 of which they are still holding. I'm quite curious to see when and how they use them in this round. Because it may show us how much work they have been doing. The small details make a big difference. Dodging the early util, RNIP. Bomb plant is extremely unlikely, however. I think 1 kill and a bomb plant would be fantastic for them, although I think they're probably going to get at least 2 frags if a bomb plant is to come to fruition here. So Vilga's got a smoke. Vilga no longer has a smoke. And they've got to run to their doom. There will be the 1 kill. There'll be the no bomb plant. Comets will be happy with these proceedings. They have an opportunity ahead of themselves now.
Definitely weren't expecting that wraparound, unfortunately, and Vilga getting caught with util out. That's an unfortunate one, but these things do happen. So a little bit of consolation damage done, I suppose, but they farmed up so much cash into this round. Do the Comets. Very curious to see. Okay, instead they're looking to save up, just keep that trust fund building up into something absolutely devastating. This is a good opportunity for NIP, however, to turn things back around.
Bonus round for the CTs is how they're approaching it. Just sending it down banana with these MP9s. Once the rifles come through, we may see a different approach. Then again, we may not. 3 remain for NIP as they try to gain a foothold in this second half. There is Vilga. That's a very big, there's a lot of potential. If they can find this kill, Empathy does not fall back. And now there are problems for the Comets. 2 on 3 with plenty of util. Surely they go for this. Serendipity being real careful. Thoughts running distraction in the meantime. Mollies, flashes, many tools with which to secure something here, or at least try to. Feel good with 36 HP versus a potential wide swing. Okay, MP9's been upgraded. Now, looks like they will opt to contain and try and drop as many Ts as possible. Again, for the long run, that does make a difference, and you can already see on the T money that there was impact to be had there, but Vilga is locked in.
I really appreciate the care that gets taken as well on the exec to double smoke the short position. And it might seem like a strange thing. Maybe you think, oh, well, lack of communication, whatever, but it actually plays off perfectly because the HE comes through to try and create sightline for the potential retake. And instead of that happening, there's just a continual wall of smoke. Okay, the HE was a little bit deep and that kind of factors into it. But again, the fact that there's these 2 smokes right next to each other make it very, very difficult. That must have been a conscious decision, and it has allowed them to reclaim the lead here once again and has potentially set them on a good footing into the next few rounds. But that AWP that we spoke about is in play here, and with a full belt of utility across the board, NIP have to play this so close to the chest.
If you are just joining us in Dallas, this is a semi-final for ESL Impact. Almost said NIP. For a place in the final. The first of 2 semi-finals today. The final which you will observe tomorrow. Forks is quite snappy with this AWP. Comets taking their pick of Mirage, the first map of this series. And now very close to NIP just after half-time. On the Ninja's pick of Inferno. Bilga dropped, as is Empathy on the other side. And these teams are in a good position to cut off this rotation. Serendipity is alone on this bomb site. They are quietly creeping over these CTs. It's their utility to close out this long area. Serendipity spotted on the site now, but they need to get a smoke up. Forks is waiting for a mistake to be made. Full focus on Serendipity for the moment. Forks creeping through and Ramsin is waiting. Mia, very familiar with the pit position, will shut things down. But a 2-on-3, bomb not planted. Maybe. STX is only now rotating off of B though. Kits on both players. They can wait around and see if they're offered something by these Ts. Always looking for opportunity are Comets. They do have util as well. They can throw junk towards the pit. Nothing doing for STX with that HE. A late grenade from Raven maybe. Going for one under the balcony. But Ninjas in Pyjamas will continue to pull away from Comets in this second half.
This is a really good exec from them. Slow and methodical, just tearing through those defensive lines. They're not able to keep the AWP out of their hands, however. I thought that they might have been able to do that to stop that from being in the next round, but instead the Comets opt to pull back, they opt to save, they recover it, and so they will have it into the next. And that's a big one for them, because given what the econ looks like right now, without that in their hands, they have a much slimmer chance. And of course, the fact that it is in Forks' hands, we'll keep singing her praises because she keeps giving us reasons to. Unfortunately, for the rest of the Comet squad, there isn't a lot of cash to spread around, so it is going to be quite a broken affair. And there's a good chance here for NIP to bring themselves to double digits.
Curious to see the spawn of Forks and what might be on the table with this sniper rifle. Needs to find some magic on that CT side. A middling spawn. Not spectacular. Bit of blocking as well. Looks like an apartment play, maybe with a pistol up close. As we see the HEs on Banana. Vilga going fishing then. They know where the main threat is, so B will be the focus. Vilga dropped by the 5-7. Help is on the way. Forks creeping in CT. Mia making sure there's no push from the A-bomb side. That is a deep smoke though, but no one's creeping around it. Serendipity finds herself alone. Off to the races again. No lurkers towards B. 4-on-4. No solid map control in either direction, really. So it may be guesswork for both squads. Comets will gamble the AK towards B and a smoke. And with time running out, that could be quite problematic. Surely Comets, do they take a risk towards A? No one's really in a good position to see if there's any presence there. They're kind of playing for rotation. You can see Serendipity starting to walk, but she's in apartment. And here comes the util onto that B bomb site. 28 seconds might be plenty to do with STX on the edge of the smoke. Are there flashes? There are. Forced off the angle, still alive with 6 HP. But that bomb site needs to be secured. 17 seconds to get the bomb planted. The bomb's not even on the bomb site just yet. Just creeping in now with Ramsin, and 2 of them go down through the smoke. Huge problems, Raven with 3 frags on the bomb site. A lot of hesitation from the Ninjas, and they have paid for it.
Oh, very, very messy round there. You could see the attempt at the head games being played, right? You've got a little bit of presence up towards Banana because they realize where the AWP is. So then they send a bit of utility down towards the other side of the map just to try and pull those rotations. And the rotations do, in fact, get pulled. They only leave the 1 player up towards the top. And then NIP re-rotate, but again, they're burning so much time off the clock just trying to get in the Comets' heads. and it just doesn't pay off. The rotations from the Comets are so incredibly fast. The utility hasn't even all been spread out. The exec hasn't actually officially begun, and they've already reinforced and set up crossfires, and they're just spamming through those smokes. And this is one of the things that I think the Comets really do well, that they don't necessarily overthink things, and there's a lot of confidence. They'll instantly they rotate in once they've got an inkling. They'll spray down through those smokes. They're not concerned, and they'll win these fights that maybe they shouldn't because they know that they can.
If NIP have a repeat round like that, they are going to crash out of this tournament. They cannot have something like that happen again. They are too far into this map. It is too late in the day. It's unlike them as well to have that hesitation, that doubt. Stunted growth in that round. Now they've got some map control. They have top mid, they have B. But it will be very simple utility once they decide to make a play. Not swinging, based on that tease. They wonder what they're being baited into. Is Forks lurking somewhere? Seems that the answer is no. 50 seconds remain. Still they have control of top mid. And there you see two riflers clearing. Often you'll find the sniper doing that, but Forks is back towards long. And there's no one covering. A cheap kill, a free kill for Empathy. Really good with the timing. Scrambling now. 30 seconds. That's an important kill. Forks is still active though. Online and delivering. A late play from NIP, and Forks is on the site. 20 seconds, the crossfire is here. They've got to get this bomb planted. The CTs are racing over to the A bomb site. Serendipity has to be dealt with. And Naomi, I think she ran out of bullets there. 11 seconds, 10 seconds to get this bomb planted. Vilga has to commit to it more or less. One to her left, one to her right. Going for a desperate pop flash. Able to get the reload in. Is she ready for Raven though? Coming in as she looks out right. Raven will peek from the left. And the score will be tied.
Oh, man. Anyone who says who needs peripheral vision has never had a moment like that. That is devastating. The timing on that, so unfortunate for her. But again, it's another stellar round from the Comets. It's so impressive to see how cool, calm, and collected they are in all of these rounds, even when it feels like they're at a disadvantage. And of course, in that round, they gave themselves a very steady advantage. They stemmed a lot of that tide. And the beginning of that exec is one of those reasons that kind of showcases why contacting can be so dangerous, because you're kind of swinging out without anything to try and cover you. Kiara and Brackets is a perfect example. Empathy gets that opening kill, and it's all kind of downhill from there. It's such a risky play, and unfortunately it doesn't work out. Now, Tech9's and a whole lot of util. Maybe we'll see something crazy. Maybe they'll turn it back around, but suddenly Comets on the precipice of taking the lead and hitting those double digits.
Something Hanka said on the desk was that you need to play to win, not play to not lose. And it feels like NIP might be playing to not lose, i.e. playing nervous in some of these rounds. I think they've got to go with the gut decision, not doubt themselves, not second guess themselves. Some of these back and forth, these hesitations, these hovering parties in mid, feels like hesitation. Into the B bomb site, there you go. There's a bit more junk to throw as they try to secure something. A bomb plant would be wonderful, but there's still an STX standing on the bomb site. Very nice on the second one. Will there be any frags here for NIP? Mia's got so many targets, so many bullets coming her way, being real patient about it. So many players on the site with still minimal success.
I think that round goes just about as expected. There's always room for shenanigans with a buy like that. But unfortunately, again, it's a round that the Comets read very, very well. They react very quickly, respond to that aggression, cover their crossfires perfectly. And there's just no way of making it in onto the site. And this, I mean, if if the Comets post-plant look as good as they did, then you have to believe that their CT side is also going to be incredibly strong, because it's a very similar concept. Obviously not exactly the same, but there are a lot of similarities in that you're taking up a defensive position. And the defense that they are mounting seems very, very difficult to crack here for the NIP ladies. And as you mentioned, looking like they're a little bit stressed out, bit nervous, don't want to take these fights, and this is where that confidence needs to come into play. Again, I'm going to harken back to what Vilga was saying in her interview a little bit earlier. Take the emotion out of it, be confident, know that you can do it, but is it too little too late?
It's crazy that they didn't find a bomb plant in that last round, and it's really hurting them. They have so few flashes in this round. Empathy holding down long, and the dream is collapsing for Ninjas in Pajamas. With what they've conquered to get this far, it may all be for nothing the way these rounds are going. During that timeout, just watching the util, they were having to sell things to figure out what they could buy. For a while, it looks like they would only have 2 flashes. A full buy with a bomb plant in that last round, and maybe the beginning of this one looks different. They'll have to do things the hard way, and again, it's so easy for Forks there. Once you figure out where Forks is, you're down another player. And this is crippling. 2 versus 4. What are your chances to win the round, to get a bomb plant? It is utterly brutal. Supernova Comets looking to do it in 2. We did say at the beginning, it felt like it could go 2-0 either way. But it feels like in some of these rounds, NIP might be the architects of their own downfall.
I mean, you're certainly kicking yourself that much harder when the maps are close. When it's like a landslide and you kind of weren't in the server and yeah, okay, fair enough. But when it comes this close, you have an overtime in the previous map, this map down to the wire, and it hurts that much more. But we're not at the end just yet. Unfortunately, a loss here is map and series point, and then the NIP need a lot. They need to dig really deep to take us into OT. So a miracle on this round might just be what they need to give them a little bit more to springboard off of.
Forks smells a rat. So good with the quick scopes. Just repositioning, trying to do what they can to thin the numbers of NIP. Ramzin upgrades the Glock to try and stop Comets from getting to match point, and is unable to do so. There is a lot of work to be done, and the margin for error is nil for Ninjas in Pajamas. This is their pick of Inferno. They were so close to taking the first map, but they didn't, and now they find themselves backs to the wall.
That miracle has been denied, and they were still looking in such good spirits towards the end of that first half, but now you can see a bit of calm, maybe a bit of tension in the ranks as they realize that this is their last chance. They don't have many more opportunities to find themselves in that grand final. 3 rounds back to back at the very minimum, just to get us into overtime again, and then their battle just begins.
Empathy drops aim top mid. Now, do you just focus on this B-bomb site where there are 3 people, where Forks can post up once again? It's just Kiara and Ramzin, a minute 20, and there's 2 versus 5. They can't even see their opponent, and they are still getting cut to pieces. I think the rounds will be flashing before their eyes now as they realize what is happening to their dreams of making a final. This morning they must have woken up and thought it was all but guaranteed. However, Supernova Comets had other ideas. The growth of this NIP team has been fantastic to watch, but they are not in their final form yet. You ask how far Supernova Comets can go now. I think if it was Zerons who said that, they wouldn't be much of a problem, but have a look at them now. One frag away from a seat in the grand final, and it has been secured in 2-0 fashion, holding on Mirage, taking Inferno away from NIP. It's Supernova Comets with another upset who make their way to the final.
For the first time ever, I want to say ever, we have a North American team in the grand